Hello and welcome to another episode of G Talks, Greenwich's first official alumni podcast where we take a deep dive into the nostalgia of our alumni who have grown and made a name out for themselves. Today, we have a very special guest who has been one of the excellent students here and has a great time at Greenwich. She has a sweet business as well and has a great personality herself as well. Today, we have Miss Swaleha. Hello, and thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here.
How is everything on your end?
Good. Yeah.
So let's take a deep dive into your time at Greenwich.
Sure.
So, what was an average day like here at Greenwich for you?
An average day at Greenwich was very hectic, was very busy because I remember when I was here, we would have at least 2 or 3 classes in a day. So life revolved in 3-hour slots, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6. Sometimes we didn't have breaks between classes. But and we had to make sure that we were in every class within the 5 minutes. Otherwise, hell would break loose. If you missed a class, you wouldn't get your grade. They were very strict when we were here.
Sadly, that still continues here.
Yeah.
We still have those 3-hour classes back to back.
Yeah.
And if you're late,
you're done for.
You're done for. True.
You're completely done for. Yeah. So it was a constant. We were petrified of our teachers, by the way. In those days, I feel that we had a lot more respect as students for their teachers, who were also their mentors, as compared to students now, the generation now. I feel that that is something which is slowly degrading, which is sad to see. But I remember back then, we were petrified of our students. And God help you if you were in Colonel Faizuddin's class and you were even 30 seconds late. Because he would rip you to shreds with his words.
Oh my.
Oh dear. It was terrible. So it was like, when the clock struck your class time, it was like this constant fear. You had to run up and down, sideways, everywhere. And the floors were slippery. So I remember that very well. Yeah.
So I think it's all about respect and understanding that as a student you have to be there on time said that
that's one thing Greenwich taught us, at least me,
True.
to be super punctual, to be anywhere before, like 20 minutes before time.
And endure 3-hour classes.
And endure 3-hour classes. But we did. Some teachers were kind enough to give us a break after an hour and 15 minutes. Others were not so kind.
Yeah.
They would give us a break at 2 hours,
Oh.
So depending on however they had planned their lessons. And then there was a teacher who wouldn't give us a break at all.
Oh my.
So we were in class for 3 hours.
3 hours, just
3
complete
hours,
lecture.
yes. Well, not lectures. I was taking finance. That was my major. So it was just a lot of paperwork. Yeah. But that time also passed, and it passed well.
I think it teaches you the discipline to show up on time and to endure long periods of lecture.
I think that is what university is meant for. Literacy and education are, in my opinion, 2 different things.
True.
You can become literate in any educational institution or without it even.
Agreed.
But to become educated in the practical sense, in a holistic way, is to be part of a system that teaches you something beyond what you can respond to in an exam.
True.
So your work ethics, for example, we had to do a lot of Greenwich at that time was, one of the few places that had many co-curricular activities. I'm not talking about extracurriculars, but the manner in which they were designed was there was a lot of group activities, assignments that you had to work with other people constantly. In every course, there was group work and individual presentations. So there was a lot of stress on speaking, public speaking, and debate in class, outside class, and group work. Now, group work, you sometimes got to choose your own group, or you were paired up with people you didn't know. So what it taught you was to work in a team, to work sometimes for a team, to fail as a team, which is extremely important also. and also to get things done on time with when you have other people with you, because those variables you cannot control. So this is what I mean, is that the university, I think did very well in teaching us those skills. And I think the most important one was to fail as a team, because if you don't learn to fail in life, you don't know how to deal with failure, and then you that leaves you very little room to self-correct and set new goals.
True.
Yeah.
And I love how gracefully you put the idea of how Greenwich actually not only gives you the education, the academic education, but instills those values and those lessons needed to actually go and use in the real world.
Yeah.
Because it's so true out there, and you have to be considerate of all these things, especially the point that you put, that it's necessary for one to experience failure in order to actually grow out of that. And I completely agree, having experienced those things here at Greenwich, that it's vital for one's growth to actually see failure.
Yes, to learn how to get up from failure. I think it's one of the most important lessons a university or an educational institution can give to their students, because they made it so tough for us. They made it really tough for us. But I think that was one of the best things that they could have done.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my second question about this.
Sure.
So, I mean, obviously, Greenwich is full of events. There's obviously the social aspect of it. Were you an active student in terms of organizing events, managing, leading, hosting?
Well, we were a very active student body, but we had different types of activities back then. But we were I was very active with whatever was going on in the university. But so the theatre society had just started up when I was here. But I was not so much into the acting, but I did design and make the props for one of the plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was very interested in theatre sound and light at the time. So that is one thing I took part in. And then there were many other things that kept happening in college. We used to have night cricket, and we had sports. But theatre was what I was interested in, just the stage and lights, the backstage work, things like that. And what else? I remember we used to have those, we had the annual talent show.
Oh.
We had the annual talent show. And that talent show actually brought forward a lot of rising stars at the time. Deepak had his first fashion show in college.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and all of us in the batch, we were all had to take part and model his clothes. All of us. So it was like a student-created fashion show, student-led. And Wajahat, who is now a very famous film director, and his wife, Shazia, they were very active in the talent shows. And then therefore, that was, I think, the talent shows were the event that a lot of people found their voice in. We had musicians, fashion designers, film directors, ad directors, a lot of names that I can come up with who found their way through those talent nights that we used to have.
So it's a way of saying that your batch was the batch that really had a lot of peak moments for students where they were able to find their...
Well, I'm sure in other batches too, but I wouldn't know that, right? Because I wasn't here. But from my batch, a lot of students have done a lot of the alumni have done very, very well in life. And a lot of us are still connected through work or our personal friendships. And they're doing very well. But the talent nights were mainly for the creatives,
Yeah.
So the rising stars that came out of that. And then, so we had our usual sporting events and as well.
So we need to bring those talent shows back.
Yes, perhaps. It would be a good idea.
Yeah. I would love that too. Yeah. So moving on from your time at Greenwich. So, I mean, obviously you have a business.
Yes.
Kaju Katlis.
Yeah.
So what made you get into that specific area?
I was unemployed, bored. It was a Sunday, and I had a craving.
Okay.
That is as simple as it is. In my former job, I would travel across South Asia, and I have this love for mithai. So anywhere I go, I must seek out, mithais.
Yes.
So one random Sunday, I had a craving for
Mhm.
Kaju Katli, and I went out to a couple of our very well-known mithai shops,
Mhm.
and picked up a little bit, 2-3 pieces from here, 2-3 pieces from there, and I didn't quite like what I was
Mhm.
having. It was not the same as what I had had across the border in India.
Yeah.
So, which is, very, and northern India is very, very well known for its Kaju Katli.
Mhm.
Having said that, the Kaju actually grows in the south, but somehow northern India has taken the lead on it.
Yeah.
So I was not very happy with with what I was eating. So I got very upset. I was actually upset.
Yeah.
So I came home and I started doing some research online, and I said, oh, what the hell? I'm going to try and do this myself.
Hmm.
So I made Kaju Katli. It took about 6 to 8 hours to make
Mhm.
half a kg, which my family and I finished in 20 minutes. And then my mother said, why don't you make it again tomorrow? The next day I failed. And then the next day I failed. And then it became a personal challenge to get it right. So I just kept at it. Like I said, I was unemployed. I had some time on my hands.
Yeah.
And I just tried it out, and I tried and failed and tried and failed. And eventually I got it right. And then one of us made that mistake of taking a picture and putting it
Oh
on Facebook.
my.
And then the friends and family started messaging, "Okay, oh, I also want it, I also want it." And I was happy to make it for everyone, except that kajus are expensive.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, right, I'll have to put a price down to it, because only so many gifts an unemployed person can give out. Anyhow, so a friend's mother, who is also in the food business, she helped me out. She taught me how to do food costing. I said, okay. So we had a cost. We didn't have a product name. There was no intention of creating a business out of it. Until one day, a friend of mine, who also cuts my hair, she asked me, she said, Swaleha, my son is getting married. Can you please make some mithai for me? So I was like, no, I can't do large scale mithai. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
This is not my line of work. And she insisted. She said, my kid was born in front of you. Could you please do this? I said, okay, sure. All right. So I called up an ex-colleague who's a graphic designer. I said, Amira, we need a logo. She said, don't worry, you'll have one by tomorrow. I said, I'm going to make all these boxes. They'll go out on a wedding, over 100 boxes.
Yeah.
So we should have a logo. So overnight there was a logo. And then another ex-colleague of mine who was a communications expert, she said, no, wait a second, you need an Instagram page. And I was like, I don't know how to make an Instagram page. I'm a finance person. I don't know how to do all of this. Anyhow, so one friend helped with the social media, another did the logo, and I agreed to make mithai for my friend's son's wedding. And I kid you not, within 24 hours, and then I ran to my father, who, was very good with words. I said, I need a name. What should we call it? So, anyway, so within 24 hours, overnight, I kid you not, we had an Instagram page, we had a logo, we had boxes, and we had a company name. So it was all done overnight. Yeah, and it was something, initially it was just a hobby, it was just a side fun project. But then I started studying it as a business model, and I felt that there was some punch in there. I had to explore it. It was something that just came out of fluke, and then I thought, okay, I'll give it a year and let's see how it goes, and then we can register it. And we did that, and here we are.
I mean, that is literally the way you cook a business.
The business was cooked. Yeah.
So I think it's really nice knowing that we have people who are really investing in those regional sweets, because as I was discussing with you as well, that there's obviously the Gen Z craze for cafes, bakeries, donuts and cakes, and our sweets are underrepresented. And
I
so I
think
feel
so
like there's
too.
always a need to highlight those.
Yeah. You know, the what I learned when I initially, it was just a hobby, but the more I got into it and the more I studied it, and there is a Halwais Association of Pakistan. It's very interesting. But what is really sad is that first you have to understand that it's a dying art. It's a highly labor intensive industry. It can be mechanized, but it requires a lot of investment.
True.
And I'm not saying that mechanizing it would take away from the flavor or the process. That integrity can still be maintained. But still, it is a dying skill and a dying craft. And unless more young blood comes into this industry, I fear that we will lose this completely. Already, there are a couple of sweets that nobody makes. Even the commercial, outlets don't make. For example, badam ki jali. Badam ki jali is the original recipe for what we now call marzipan.
Okay.
So the story of the marzipan is that, because we were a colony, so the not only the Dutch, the English, and the French took this recipe to Europe from Hyderabad, Deccan, and all. In fact, I would say from South India, not just Hyderabad, from South India. And just like that, some of our other regional recipes also landed up in Europe, which is fine. But they were altered to European flavor and taste. But badam ki jali in particular, nobody in Pakistan does it. So even I often wondered that why can our local outlets, at least the ones in Karachi, how is it that they cannot make Kaju Katli properly?
True.
Because we have all those influences, regional influences. ठीक है, Pakistan doesn't grow the kaju, but how come the recipe is difficult, but it's not so difficult? So how is it not possible? And badam ki jali, which is a Hyderabadi delicacy, how is it that it cannot be made? I only learned it because a friend's mother, who's very dear to me, she pointed it out. She said, "Oh, Kaju Katli is considered the most difficult mithai to make because it's a very unforgiving recipe. So if you can do this, I'm going to give you my family, secret recipe of badam ki jali, and I'm going to teach you how to do it." So I said, "Okay, let's do it." We tried it out. She taught me. We made it. It is very difficult and painful and unforgiving. Anyways, but that really brought me down to thinking, why are all these huge mithai businesses out there who are so much bigger than me, who have the investment, they're generational businesses, why can't they get it right? And I think what it boils down to is there are some things that only individuals can be made by individuals, not by machines. There's a level of handwork that is required, and it takes a lot of time, and like I said, it's extremely labor intensive to produce just 2 kilos. So it doesn't become effective in terms of a cost benefit analysis, really,
Yeah.
to put in an entire day that yields such low revenue. So I understand that it's a business decision, but these business decisions eventually lead to killing a craft. So that's very sad to see.
So I think it's the loss, or the essence of our culture is lost eventually.
Well, mechanization does that. It does that for just like fabric and embroideries. The more the machines embroider, it's cheaper, it's more available, it's higher output as compared to things done by hand.
True.
But I do believe that the world now belongs to producers and makers, manufactured items. So it is, and there is a revival. So hopefully there will be new blood in this industry to take it forward and to preserve some of our, traditional um, sweetmeats. Hopefully, yeah.
And again, kudos to you for actually taking the challenge.
I just had a craving. That's it.
Craving to challenge to creating a business within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you're here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hope that it works out for you in the future as well and that it grows as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our rapid fire round.
Sure.
Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Neither. No, I'm a day person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Cat or dog?
Cat.
Okay, you're a cat lover. Perfect. Any book or a podcast that you always have by yourself?
By myself.
Yeah, and you would recommend it to
my
anyone.
generation believed in many books, and we didn't have podcasts back
Okay.
then, right? So you have to remember that.
Okay.
But everyone has personal preferences. But one of my favorite books is Samarkand by Amin Maalouf.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is it about?
It is about Umar Khayyam and his rubaiyat, which were lost on the Titanic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll read that one as well.
Sure.
And last question from the rapid fire.
Yeah.
What's that one advice you'd give to your 21-year-old self?
To my 21-year-old self.
Yes.
Oh, my time is gone. I can give advice to other 21-year-olds.
Okay. I mean, let's just roll over to the advice
Yeah.
part. So, what's that one specific lesson you learned throughout your time at Greenwich?
Keep at it. Just keep at it. As we say in Urdu, date raho. Just keep at it. You have to just persevere.
Perfect.
You have to commit. I think whether you are an average student or a high roller, whether you're trying to start a business or get onto your feet or survive college, you just have to commit to yourself, to an idea and follow through. Because I think, and I have taught for many years, and that is one thing I find in your generation, that commitment is fleeting. It's a fleeting concept, know. It changes like with coffee and matcha and tea or whatever the flavor of the month is. But one needs to just keep at it. If they want to get somewhere in life or achieve any personal goal, just keep at it. You need consistency and commitment. And once you have consistency and commitment, and that is when your professional and personal integrity builds, hopefully,
I think that sends a strong
That's
word
the
out.
same advice I give to my 21-year-old self.
Keep at it.
Keep at it, just.
Last question. So, obviously, this is a similar question, but the Gen Zs, as we like to call them, you've beautifully put the idea of how, our generation is very quick to back out, is very quick to switch. What advice would you have outside the part to keep at it is that you'd give to our generation to make it big in their lives? Because I understand in today's time, everyone is falling for that media propaganda. For whatever you see, you want to be that. And you don't realize what you have to do. And of course, there is that thing, there's anxiety, there's depression, and how people casually just make it about themselves. Okay, I have ADHD or I have this or that. What advice would you have for students who are going through all of this to make it big?
It's the one advice I would give them is to look outside the window. It's not always about you. It's about what you can do for your community, for your environment. You are a small cog in the wheel. You're a tiny grain of sand. All right? It's theek hai, we all have our situational or existential crisis. But it's not just about us.
True.
I feel that this generation is very inward looking, which is not a bad thing. But at the same time, when I say that look out the window, I'm saying is be a little bit outward looking. This generation has been focusing on I, me. what I'm saying is that there is an us that follows after that. All right. So it is, yes, we have been focusing on how everything affects me or how my mental health and well being affects me. But what they have stopped focusing on is how their mental health and well being affects others.
Agreed.
So if you think about it in that way, then your personal and your professional approach changes, because when you deal with different individuals from different backgrounds, walks of life, different socioeconomic groups in the workplace, it changes how you see people and how you value their input, because it's not about you anymore. It's about you and how you work with others, so your impact on other people. So it doesn't matter who the other person is. Are you impacting them negatively or positively? The whole time this generation has been focusing about how I am impacted negatively or positively. Is somebody a drain on my feelings, or somebody toxic?
Yeah.
No. So it's a lot more inwards looking.
Yes.
So what they really need to do is just open the window and start looking out and thinking about us rather than the I and the me. So that would be my brief only advice to them. And an outward look, or may actually lead to developing other skills or benefits for them in the future.
Thank you so much for that advice, because it's really true that in today's time it's all become about me, what impacts me, what's necessary for me. And I think we forget the fact that we live as a society, we operate as a society, and one needs to really think about how we need to work in terms of us and not just for myself. And as much as it's important to think about your own self, it's also vital that you think about others and what you can give out as well. So I think it's been a great episode, and I think a lot of people will learn from it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And that was our episode for today. See you on another episode of G Talks.